Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Thursday's a new Friday. People looking forward to Thursdays.
That's a beautiful thing. Well, anyway, we have a bit of a different episode here for you on the Sportsmen. Joseph and I, or I should say Cutsy and I, were lucky enough to have two guys that we've known for a while now. They've got a pretty awesome podcast called the Brothers Brandt, and we had them on our show, and it was a lot of fun. And we just wanted to come on here and sort of preface, we're going to go back to normal next week. We might occasionally have more people like them on, other guests. But this is something we tried out this week. And what do you think there, Cutsy?
I mean, first and foremost, these two young men are just stand-up individuals, really, really good guys. I'm happy to have collabed with them. And their stories are pretty epic. So like they don't seem real. So definitely think you guys are going to enjoy this. Like Ticket said, a little bit of a change of format, but I got to be honest. I think doing collabs, like I'm doing the collabs in the YouTube world now with the golf things, it's beneficial. It helps both parties. It helps create exposure.
Yeah.
Listen, we're proud of the 400 faithful. There's no question about it. But would I rather it be 4,000 faithful or 40,000 faithful in a few years? Absolutely. So, we're going to continue to try to grow this podcast in every way that we can. And, we'll do the occasional collab. This is our first time working with another group. So, a little bit of a different dynamic. I mean, Tick, I don't know what you think, but I thought we did all right from an interviewing standpoint. Definitely think we need to polish it up a bit. But I think overall, I think it's going to be a really cool episode. It's going to be something different than what we normally do. And I enjoyed it. I really had a good time.
Yeah, I think it can be tough, even if you're all in the same room together when there's two people interviewing, like the Regis and Kelly style, there's the give and take. I think that already is a trick in and of itself, when it's one person interviewing, but then to have it all on Zoom. So I think we did a really good job for our first time, quite honestly. But to piggyback on what Joe said, these guys are hilarious. There's a point in the podcast where we'll mention that there should be a movie written on these guys. That's how good their stories are. That's how not in real life they're living, but it just shows their dedication and their confidence and their willingness to do what other people won't do to get the experiences that most people don't get. So it was a lot of fun. And again, their show is the Brothers Brandt. And before we jump into this thing, you got anything else to add, Cutsy?
Not too much. I mean, big day for you, Tick, aside. I mean, the Sixers are playing tonight, and I don't know what happened to them last week or this last game. Sorry. I mean, Embiid, I think he got hurt because he looked like he was not present. Even though he still put up pretty good numbers, you're going to need to have a big night tonight. I'm hoping and praying that we're coming back by next week and we're talking Sixers basketball for the right reasons and not for the wrong. So big day for you.
I messaged you after the game, and I told you right then and there. I mean, Embiid was a huge liability, but the whole team looked better than Jimmy Hoffa. They looked awful, man. And that's I'm not going to keep going here, but Doc's got to fire this team up. They got to find some motivation within themselves. Something's got to give.
Listen, they can do it. They can do it. I mean, look, you saw the Grizzlies last night. They beat the Warriors by fucking, I don't know how many points. And that's without Ja Morant. So it can be done. I think you're going to have a much better prominent Embiid tonight. I'm hoping for your sake. And, big day. This could be the make it or break it.
Where does Cutsy's money go tonight? Shoot them straight. Shoot the people
after getting hammered last night, I got taken to the cleaners last night. I don't know if I'm going to wager anything tonight. I think I might take a night off.
If you were a betting man, though, if you wanted to lead,
I think the Sixers win. I think they're going to win. Now, Game 7 is going to be a much different story if they do win, because I did not see anything that made me confident with their play from the last game playing in Miami. They look terrible, and they've yet to win a game in Miami, which is very disturbing. They haven't even been close, if I'm being honest. And I mean, I think I don't know what it is, but they get themselves in these big deficits. They're going to have to come out. Listen, first and foremost, they got to win tonight. They got to win tonight before they can even get too far ahead of themselves. But I think, I think they'll win tonight. I told you I think they'll win the series, but they have got to come out with more fire than what they had. They've been in these shooting slumps of like, almost the whole first quarter, the last couple games. When they played in Miami, they get these shooting slumps. They can't hit anything, and they're getting razzled. Like they look frantic with the ball on offense. There's no flow. So hopefully they win tonight. Big day for you. Big day for the Sportsmen. First ever collaboration podcast. I'm interested to hear what you think. And like, listen, we want to hear your feedback. If you like the episode, if you don't, I mean, I hope that you do. Hit us up in the DMs. I promise you right now, I go through my DMs daily and it's getting harder and harder. I'm not trying to sound, like I'm blowing up here, but it's like, it used to be a lot easier to go through my DMs than it is now because I get a lot more messages and a lot more traffic. And I promise you that if I see anything with regards to 400 Faithful or Sportsmen, it is an immediate response because I am going to do whatever I can to help promote this podcast. This is our little baby and it's still very young and still growing, but I think this is a big day for us. I think it's cool to see other people want to come on our podcast. And I think we're just going to continue to promote it and grow it. And I'm interested to hear what you say. So leave us a feedback, shoot us a message, either myself or Ticket. Let us know what you think. And we'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. And one quick thing, I almost forgot. I had sort of put out a test for the faithful last week. I said, if it took 5 seconds, just go leave a 5-star review. That's all it takes. So many people came out. They did that. Some left a comment. Many left.
I love the comments.
It was so helpful. It really is. Beyond whatever it does in the algorithm, I have no idea what that does. It's just fun to read them. It's great to see you guys kind of reaching out to us, and we love it. So keep on doing that. And we're so grateful for the ones that already did. But without further ado, these guys are great. The Brothers Brandt, Rob and Rick, they've got an awesome podcast, and go check it out wherever you get podcasts, Spotify, Apple, doesn't matter. Give them a listen, give them a shot because we love talking to them. Yep. And here's our interview with them. Welcome back, everyone. This is the Sportsman. I'm joined by my co-host, as always, Joey Cold Cutsy. You know him. But today's a bit of a different episode. We have our first interview ever. I mean, this is unprecedented for us.
First collab.
We've our first collab. We've never even teased that we might do something like this, but we're extremely happy to have the Brothers Brandt. You can catch their show anywhere you can get podcasts. We have Rob Brandt and we have Rick Brandt. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Guys, excited to be here. Thrilled to death.
We're happy to have you guys.
It's an honor and a privilege.
Wow. I mean, okay. That's great to hear. I mean, just showing some love to the Sportsmen right out of the gate here.
Hey, faithful 400, baby. You can. We're two out of the 400.
We got two of them right here.
I mean, when I found out that, Rob listened to the show and he wanted to get on, I said, if you're one of the 400 faithful, I would pretty much already have rolled out the red carpet for you. But then to dive deeper into these two gentlemen, I mean, some of the stories that these guys have are just outrageously it's not real life. Like some of the things that they have, and we're going to want to go into some of these in a minute, but like, I was listening to your guys' podcast and like some of the things that you guys have done. And like, I mean, it's pretty wild. Like first and foremost, like I've been in a situation where I've tried to get to like a lower seat in a stadium or whatever, and I'm super scared or nervous, like I'm going to get caught. You guys just go for it. So like first and foremost, tip of the cap to you guys, because without like having that, that all out, like I'm going to go for it mentality, a lot of these stories that you guys have, they wouldn't even have happened. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, the epicness of the stories of just, what's like the how we work nosebleeds. Like we buy nosebleed tickets, and then through really just a systematic way, we have it down to a science where we get onto the field or we get front row seats or all access kind of.
That's unreal. I mean, I've been to a lot of sporting events, and in my entire life, I've only had field access once. It was at AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas. And by the way, I did not buy the tickets. A friend of mine bought tickets for me. They were like $2,000 seats. I've never paid even remotely close to that amount of money for a seat. But I will say that being on the field after the game and being able to experience like that whole different side of things, it sheds a light on the game in a way that you can never experience from a normal, upper bowl seat or a nosebleed seat. It really puts in perspective just like how huge the arena is, like the context of it. It's pretty fucking amazing. And it sounds like you guys are doing this regularly. So first and foremost, I want to ask you guys, like, your first time doing this, like, was it something that was discussed, or you just saw an opportunity and you're like, listen, we should try to make something out of this? And then, because it sounds like it kind of spiraled from there, but maybe you guys can shed light on the first time you did something like this.
Well, I'd be happy to take the lead on this one, Rob, unless you want to go ahead with this.
No, it goes back to Detroit. Why don't you tell them about Detroit?
Well, I'd like to get them started with the Detroit episode, but before I do, I just want to reiterate a point that you made, which is so spot on. There are so many different ways to watch a live sporting event. You can be up in the upper decks, you can be in a suite, you can be down in the lower bowl on the field. And our goal is to watch sports from the best vantage point possible by paying the least amount of money possible.
That's the dream, isn't it?
And I can tell you for certain that it all kicked off back in Detroit, 2013. Rob and I had decided we wanted to go out to the Midwest and see The Field of Dreams. We've all seen this movie with Kevin Costner, The Field of Dreams. Yep. It's located out in Dyersville, Iowa. Very popularized this past year with Major League Baseball hosting an outdoor game at this complex, and they did it up just perfectly. But Rob and I, almost a decade ago now, wanted to drive out there from New Jersey to check it out. So rather than being psychos and drive 13 hours one way, see a field, and drive back 13 hours, we decided we'd want to stop along the way and see some sporting events. Well, we ultimately put together this road trip where we went to 10 games in 10 days. And the first game was a Detroit Tigers game. And we get to the stadium on a Friday night, and it's late afternoon. And I said to Rob, let's go and explore the stadium. Let's check out, see what's around outside the ballpark, just take in the atmosphere. This is hours before the gates even open up. And we start strolling around the stadium, and lo and behold, a gate to the back entrance is wide open, unmanned. And what do you think the Brothers Brandt do? Go ahead.
Barge through it.
Joey, Neil, we walk through the gate, and now Rick and I are like, all right, well, our tickets never got scanned. And we're there this is 3 hours, 2 hours before the game starts. And no fans are in attendance, but we see this one person our age, like early 20s, rocking a Tigers outfit, like a uniform, but he's in the outfield bleachers, and he's actually retrieving home run balls for batting practice. So Rick and I go and just kind of start like walking towards him, and we got to blend in at this point. We have to start talking to people. We can't just start walking around. So we start talking to this guy with a lot of confidence, and it turns out he's one of the bat boys for the team, and he's shagging all the home run balls. And as he's just like, hey, how'd you guys get in here? And we're just like, do you want us to lie to you or tell you the truth? And he just goes, truth would be good. And we just told him that the gate was wide open, and we just walked right in. And he just goes, dude, this is epic. Like, follow me. He goes, where are you guys sitting for the game? And we just befriend this guy. He's like, this is the kind of stuff me and my brothers would do. And he goes, where are you guys sitting for the game? And we point to like the last seat in the stadium, like a $10 ticket, Joey. And he goes, no, we ain't doing that. Follow me when we're done here. Just hang out with me. You guys are good. Hang out with me. And then he brings us around. Fans are starting to come into the stadium at this point. He brings us to the dugout where like all little kids are getting autographs. He escorts us through the ushers and security to the dugout, and we sit like front row. And he goes, just hang here, guys, and just, play musical chairs.
That's so cool.
And
that's so cool.
we end up sitting fourth row for the entire game. And one of the plays that we have is when you get down to these lower sections, you got to order food because it looks like you belong. So we had like nachos and like coffee. Rick doesn't even drink coffee. He's like, yeah, give me the coffee. Like, I need the coffee. So like, looks like we belong. So like, no one's asking for our tickets.
You're just blending in at this point.
We're just blending in, and that's how it kicked off, and then kind of spurred into the Michigan game the next day.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I listened to your podcast and it sounds like the very similar thing happened at the Michigan game where you ended up on the field and then afterwards went into the seats after security talked to you. And same thing, you were just very much when the people asked you, like, how did you get tickets to these seats? You were just like, do you want me to be honest or not? Or lie to you? And the same thing, it sounded like, part of it seems like just coming across as very genuine and honest and like just wanting to befriend people and like then creating relationships with the people who are there. I mean, you're luckily never come across an asshole who's like sitting down there because it sounds like everybody you guys have reached out to. This Michigan story, by the way, I think if I'm not mistaken, you guys ended up like hanging out with the family afterwards for the people who knew the seats that you were in, the gentleman who owned them. I mean, that's just an amazing story. I mean, and by the way, Ticket, you should say too, Ticket's got a lot of love for Detroit. So when you start talking about the Tigers and the Lions, Ticket's got deep roots when it comes to those teams. No,
Co-America Park, man. It's one of the best parks this country's got to offer, dude. It's fantastic. But I just want to say real quick, I have so much respect for what you guys are doing here, because if I'm even in the wrong seat at a movie theater, I've got anxiety. I'm like, someone's coming to get me. Like I won't enjoy the game. I won't enjoy the film. So the balls that you guys have and the confidence that you exhibit, it's awesome, man. And but yeah, walk us through this Michigan game, because this is a great story and we want our listeners to hear it. So maybe they'll jump on over to your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll tell the Michigan story. And I think for those out there, and it's funny because I've actually taught friends how to do this, because we tell these stories at Christmas parties, at any dinner parties, and people are like, they're just listening, like the whole table's silent, like listening, like what's going on with this story. And I've taught people how to do this, and it really boils down to a couple of things. And Joey, you were right. Like, I want to touch on something there. It's like, lying only makes it worse. And when you're honest with people, they appreciate that and they love that. So it's like, one of the things is like Rick and I have said is like, if we get called out, we're never going to lie. We're just going to say we walked right down, and people love that. And that's what happened at this Michigan game. And then also dressing the part, Rick, prior to going to these games, what we did was we went on eBay, and, we're Jersey boys. We're not Tigers fans or Michigan fans, but we went on eBay and we bought $10 t-shirts of University of Michigan and $10 Packers shirts and all this stuff for all the games we went to. So we're swagged out like the home team.
Well, that shirt's worth a lot more than $10 if it's Packers.
I knew that was going to strike a chord. This Midwest road trip is striking a chord with you guys.
Yeah.
But we, and then I'll get to Michigan. We'll get to Michigan, but things escalated in Alabama when Rick decided to go and buy a $99 tuxedo, and this thing just took off. We'll get to that story and our Super Bowl Media Day story, where we interviewed Tom Brady and Russell Wilson. That's like arguably our best story ever. We want to share that one. But Rick, hit him with the Michigan one.
Yeah, so basically, gentlemen, it's about getting there early, like absurdly early, earlier than any time somebody would normally get to a stadium. We show up before the players have arrived and before the gates have opened up. There's been times where Rob and I have literally walked into the stadium with the staff of that stadium. Like, they're coming in, we're coming in at that same time.
LA Dodgers.
That's hilarious.
So, but the key is getting in early, because folks aren't set up. They're not organized yet. They really don't know what's going on. The people that are working at these stadiums, they're just kind of like opening up their eyes and kind of taking it all in. And we get in at that split moment, and people aren't always manning their posts. Rob and I have worked security for major sporting events, and sometimes people just aren't manning their posts. It's not like Rob and I are hopping over fences or jumping over barricades here. We literally are just walking where you're able to walk,
With
and
a lot of
nobody's stopping
confidence.
us.
Have you guys, sorry to sidebar, but have you guys ever done it on a golf course? Because I'm now, the wheels are in motion here now, and I'm thinking like the next time I go to a golfing event, I should be looking into this.
So I've explored a little bit at the PGA Championship at Baltusrol a few years ago. If you wear the swag, you've got a chance. Swag and a lanyard really help.
The
You
lanyard
get a
is
lapel
key.
pin, and now we're talking.
Okay. Sorry to interject.
This is interesting
Continue your
because I
story.
remember a year ago, either the U.S. Open was at Kiowa, which is right here down the road.
It was a
from
PGA.
Charleston.
It was a PGA.
And I dressed like I was a player, and I traversed through the woods and the beach for
Ticket
like
tried
5
hard.
hours to get. And I was gonna say, I'm one of the players. Like, I was gonna get aggressive with them too if they were like, whoa, who are you? I had no lanyard. I had no merch. I mean, I would have been destroyed. But it's an interesting thought here. It's an interesting.
I think if you had brought your golf clubs, I think you would have had a 50-50 shot.
Oh, that's true, man. That could be the
Ticket
play.
did try, and he ended up instead of even getting a chance to view it, he went on like a 5-hour hike and just gave up at the end. So
Yeah,
I guess
went on a
there
safari
is
ride.
definitely some strategic value in doing this, and Ticket learned that the hard way. Sorry to interject. I didn't want to cut in on your story, but to me, it's very intriguing because you're saying show up early, but like I would like to think that some places are much tighter security wise than others. Cause when I go to golf tournaments, they have that shit like sealed up. Like it's very hard.
Yeah. No, some places are a lot harder than others for sure. Like Dallas, Texas, actually, the Cowboy Stadium is like the hardest to maneuver. Like hats off to their security. Like they are on it. Like some places are so easy. Like Clemson, we literally we had orange tuxedos, like from Dumb and Dumber, and
awesome.
lanyards and lapel pins and Clemson hats on. And we just honestly told the security guard we're going onto the field, and he just goes, okay.
Maybe he thought you're like part of the halftime show or something like that. You never know.
We had referees coming up to us asking to take pictures with us. We had the mascot asking to take pictures with us.
That's so cool.
You got to bring positivity. You got to dress the part. You got to arrive early. You got to bring confidence and just have a good time. If you're having a good time, it's all good. If you're causing problems, that's where you're going to run into issues. And we don't ever encourage that. We don't ever behave in that way. It's always honesty and just here to have a good time and support the home team.
Yeah.
Now, before you guys, I know that you wanted to talk about the Super Bowl thing, and we'll get into that. I have to ask you guys a question is like, what would you say based on all the places that you've gone and all the different sporting events you've gone to, if you had to pick like a top 1 or 2 places to watch a game? So for the listeners listening out there, whether it's a baseball game or an NFL game, or what would you say from an experiential, like overall, like experience that you've been able to enjoy, what would be the top couple places that you guys would say you've enjoyed watching a game at?
Rick, I'll interject here. I'll take it first. Great question. I'm going to go baseball, football, and then golf. And baseball, the best stadium in the country to watch a baseball game at, with like the best vantage points, the best view, is without a doubt San Francisco Giants. Like it is just beautiful, breathtaking views. Like even the upper decks on the first base side, like you're staring out into the marina, into the bay, into McCovey Cove. It's gorgeous, hands down. I know Rick agrees with me on that one. And then football wise, I mean, Joe, you're gonna love me right now because I'm going Lambeau Field. Like,
Yeah,
you gotta go Lambeau. This is
I've been once. We used to go to like in the summertime, we'd go to Green Bay to watch the games, and they'd have the intramural games.
Yeah.
And then finally, like 5-6 years ago, my mom's from Green Bay, so her uncles are like, the fact that you've not been to a regular season game is criminal. You're in your 20s. At the time, I was in my late 20s. So I went to a game versus the Lions, and we went, and just the experience. I've been so used to going to games as an opposing fan, like in Seattle and all these other places. But to go there and like walking to the stadium, everybody's wearing green and gold, and then you walk in and it's just such an iconic stadium. Dude, yeah, goosebumps, man.
I'm getting goosebumps right now. It's just thinking about it. Everything about it, like it's a massive stadium, so much history, plopped in the middle of a town with like ranch homes right next to it.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of like a college atmosphere, like how pumped up everybody is for that game.
Bench seating.
And bench seating. I mean, even you know what it is too? The people are so nice. Like they're so inviting. They're so welcoming.
Oh, now he's really got you in the palm of his hand. Wow.
Ticket, did you see we're doing a 2-hour episode today? Because I'm ready for all of it. Speaking my
Joey,
language.
clear the schedule now. Now we're doing a 4-hour podcast.
He's right though, Ticket. I'm not just being like, like I'm not being overly like, I don't know, like. I truly believe that Packers fans are just genuinely good people. They're just like very kind, like good, loving people. And, you know, they cheer for their team, but they're not like aggressive. You go to some stadiums and fans are aggressive and mean and like not good. Packers, it's just like a big family. It's just like a great environment, Ticket. You have to experience it.
All right. Well, hey, Detroit working class, steel, cars, GMC, Ford, baby. Come on. And Philly, I know you're not mentioning Philly when it comes to unruly fans.
Bunch of scumbags over there.
Philly's one of the worst places. One of the worst places to watch a game. I'm going on record. All right. I don't ever want to encourage people to go to a sporting event in the city of Philadelphia. It's not an enjoyable experience. Even if you're rooting for the home team, it can be problematic.
Oh my God! What a bunch of scumbags, Tick.
Sorry,
go ahead. What's your?
Only because you guys talk so much about Green Bay right there. I just want to add one caveat. It's the only place we've been to, and we've been to them all, where the fans in the stands who we don't even know, when they get up to go to the concession stand, they ask the people around them, hey, do you need anything? Do you want anything? Where else do you get something like that?
Good Midwestern people over there, Tick.
And I love, and if you're at the game, you'll get it. When the Packers score a touchdown or score points, they have one of my favorite like traditions. They play, I don't want to work. I want to bang on these drums all day. Rob, and everyone's like jumping up and down. And like,
Rob, I will tell you that Bobby's going to be listening to this podcast. He's going to agree with you so much because this past year I introduced him to that song and he can't get enough of it. It is just the most exuberant, like joyous song. And everybody it makes you just want to clap and stand up and just go crazy. You're spot on with that.
I'd run green, man.
And then golf, you gotta go to. And I know Robbie went to the Waste Management Open, and you got to go to the Waste Management Open. It's one of the coolest events in golf. We've had the privilege of being on the 16th green, multiple times. And Rick actually met like Condoleezza Rice. We met Mark Cuban, and I know you were talking about this, Joey. Because that's the craziest connection is that the Super Bowl plays there all the time because it's Arizona. And next year, I think, right, the Super Bowl is going to be there. And, oh my gosh, the fanfare, the celebrities.
It's gonna be nuts.
That's what
we're actually looking at doing a tournament in Scottsdale the week of Waste Management right before it. So Bob and I are thinking about putting out a tournament where we can invite our fans and followers to come and play. And then for like a certain amount of people, if they pay a certain amount, they're going to get access. Well, again, this is all, I don't want to give too much away here, but we're talking about potentially getting like a skybox for the people who spend more money to get access to go watch the Waste Management with us at the skybox. Yeah. And then while we're there, I mean, the Super Bowl is definitely on, a potential opportunity for us to attend as well.
Connect with Ram. Remember I put you in touch with Ram?
Yeah, he's a guy who seems to know a lot of different things. Rick, what about so Rob gave his he said that you were in agreement with him on the San Francisco ballpark. What about for football for you? What would you say is the top stadium you've been to?
All right, so for college football, it's all about the atmosphere, right? And I want to talk about a couple atmospheres that are just out of this world. If you had to pick them, these are the ones to go to. First, you got to find yourself down in Tuscaloosa at some point to watch an Alabama football game. It doesn't matter who they're playing, but you need to go watch Alabama play at home. Next, if you get a chance to watch Florida play Florida State, that is that interstate rivalry at the Swamp is the best. I highly recommend that. Michigan, Ohio State at the Big House is undeniably out of this world. Penn State on a Saturday night in Happy Valley in a whiteout, through the roof. And a sleeper pick, Eugene, Oregon, home of the Oregon Ducks. That is ruckus environments.
You know, Bob went to a game for Bob Does Sports in Oxford, and he said the Ole Miss environment is unbelievable as well. I'm not sure if you guys did that, but so many awesome places to choose from. It's just so interesting to hear. I think for me, Ohio, you know, the Ohio State Michigan game in the Big House has got to be just rocking, just absolutely rocking. So, well, let's keep it going here, Ticket. I think you had a question or two for the guys that you wanted to ask. Why don't we ask?
I have a couple things I want to get to. I've had a conversation with Rob many a times, but I used to ask Bobby about this all the time. And I want to take it back because I want to close strong. I want to finish with some of the best guests you guys have had. You mentioned Russell Wilson, but I want to take you back to a little time in college where you were putting yourself through college with what I think is one of the funniest stories, at least the way Bob tells it. And I want to hear your take on it. You put yourself through college. And I want to paint the scene for you, Cutsy, because there was a year in the New Jersey, Philadelphia area where every single person got a letter from a company called Vector. Do you want to work for Vector? And people were like, what is Vector? And Rob was one of the people who responded to them, ended up working for them. Take it away, Rob.
Yeah, long story short, I ended up selling Cutco knives. Are you familiar with them, Joey?
I've heard about them before, but not completely.
Yeah, long story short, you like start off seeing family and friends, and then like you ask for referrals and all that stuff. And in about like 5 years, I sold from college and like a little bit after, I sold like over $1 million worth of these knives. And I was like the #1 college sales rep for Cutco. I was like #1 out of thousands of people. And I actually opened up my own office after college, and it was such a cool experience being like 22 years old and like hiring people and training them to sell Cutco. And this is how all of this has started. Is Robbie came into the office, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to sell some knives, just ready to go, baby.
This guy couldn't sell a samurai sword. Let me tell you that. Oh my God.
I'll never forget it. And I told him this, and I was live on one of his Instagram stories where he came up to me, 18 years old, Robbie Berger came up to me, and I gave him the job. I was just like, his buddy was working there. So I was like, yeah, I want you. Like, well, I'll help you sell some knives. And as soon as I said, I accepted you, he reaches over the table and shakes my hand, and he just goes, real excited to sell some knives. I'm not going to let you down. I'm not going to let you down. And showed up to training, made the phone calls. Kid was just ripping selling Cutco knives in college.
Oh, so he was good.
Yeah, he was good.
Bob
he wasn't selling millions.
He cornered all of his mom's friends, and they just felt so bad for him.
Oh, Randolph, New Jersey didn't know what hit him. Randolph, New Jersey didn't know what hit him. Was Robbie coming out there slinging.
But I guess, go ahead, Ticket.
No, go for it.
I was going to say, I guess in many ways, like what you've done with selling knives kind of is your mentality and your personality. You're very personable. It seems like both of you are very outgoing, and your ability to socialize and like create connections is what I believe is what this is all stemming from. Is you're able to see an opportunity, take it, and then create a connection that enables you to benefit from it, whether it's selling knives or going to the Big House and being on the right on the field. But I genuinely think that's probably something that helped establish your ability to be able to connect with people and be able to use it in a way that helps benefit both of you.
The
It
answer is always no until you ask. So that's the sales mentality we bring to going to sporting events. And sometimes we get the cold shoulder and it doesn't work, but we just keep trucking, boys. Keep trucking.
I'll tell you what, boys, after the podcast, I have some sponsorships that I might need help selling for. If you guys want to be some sales reps, we might need to have some conversations here, because I definitely ain't selling millions of dollars worth of anything, let alone Cutco knives. That's pretty unbelievable to hear.
You know, it's really funny. The just because you're rocking it, I wanted to bring it up, is the Roback Nation and the boys at Roback. And we actually met Matt at the Masters as security guards. He was rocking Roback. And I was just like, oh man, I love the Roback. Yeah, you know Robbie Berger, and he's just like, yeah, I own the company, and I'm just like,
that's pretty amazing.
And we started talking. I was like, Robbie's crushing. He's doing such a great job in your brand. Like he's really doing a great job. And they were like, oh yeah, we love Robbie. He's amazing.
They're super awesome guys. I don't know them as well because Robbie's sponsored by them. I'm actually sponsored by another company, which is amazing as well. But these guys, they send me a bunch of stuff just as a generous thing. Like they're just really good, honest guys. And for me, like, you know, my company as well is a company called Proud 90. They're amazing as well. Is you want to work with people who are just down to earth, like good people. And you know what I mean? And I think like the funny thing is with me and Robbie is like in our connections within, you know, anything that we do, we meet people and, you know, it's now a lot of times people come from a position of like wanting something and it's a turn off to other people. Whereas we come from a position is like, we just want to get to know people. A prime example is we have a thing where we got gifted a huge box from this lobster company, which was amazing. And we shouted them out and stuff. We're not trying to get anything out of it. And yesterday I had a conversation with the co-founder of the company and now he's interested in us. So things like that is just very cool because if you connect on a human level with people, there's so many endless possibilities. And I think that's, you know, really highlighted from what you guys are saying and how you're able to take advantage. You're not trying to do it from a spiteful place or from a place where it's trying to be sneaky or, you know, dishonest. It's just, hey, we want to experience this the best way possible. How can we make that happen? If we're not able to do it, then so be it. We'll go back to our nosebleeds. But
yeah,
I tip of the cap to you guys. That's pretty amazing.
And going back to that Michigan story, I mean, we don't have to tell the whole thing. I'd love to tell the Super Bowl story because that's just absolutely dynamite and just a way to end this thing. But just to your point, it's like, you know, you make friends with people and you be genuine and you be authentic and you be real and like you always be honest and tell the truth and have fun and bring a lot of energy. And that's what we did at Michigan. And we ended up sitting front row because the two people next to them didn't sell their tickets and we were sitting in them and they asked us like, how'd you get these tickets? And I was like, oh, do you want me to lie to you or tell you the truth? And he's like, truth would be good. I was like, yeah. So we actually went to the Detroit Tigers game the night before. We have this 10-day road trip planned, walked into that stadium. Then we just walked onto the field, but we got booted off after a first quarter. So now we're sitting here. This guy's dying laughing. He goes, this is amazing. Invites us back to it. He goes, well, you're lucky. These are, TED seats. He couldn't sell them because it's University of Akron they're playing. Come back to our tailgate. You know, we had a full party with Ted. Like he was like, oh, you guys enjoyed the seats? Like, that's awesome. and they gave us like beer, wine, food, like ready to get amazing. In our car heading back. And they still get our Christmas card to this day.
10 years later, still trading Christmas cards.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You guys, before we go into the Super Bowl, I think we can wrap up with the Super Bowl story. But one thing I wanted to touch base on is, and Rob, I think I've talked to you about this, is you guys meeting Jim Nantz and your involvement on having him on the podcast. Most recently, before I quit my job, we actually had a situation where Jim Nantz was staying at the hotel. I was at the hostess stand, kind of just doing my thing. I had my head down. I was filling out some forms and I hear this just angelic voice come up at the hostess stand asking for a reservation for that night for the following night. It was a Saturday for 6 people at 7:00. And the hostess, obviously we were packed. We were full. She goes, oh, we don't have any availability. And he goes, are you sure you couldn't make anything? She goes, well, what's the name for the reservation? Let me see if I can do something. He goes, oh, it's Nance. First name is Jim. And I look up and I'm like looking at Jim Nance. I'm like, this is unbelievable. So I brushed her aside immediately. And I said, you know, Mr. Nance, just tell me what time you want to come in. We'll make something happen. We'll get you a great table. Long story short, he came in the next night. We were super busy. And I started talking to him and just one of the most genuine people I can honestly say I've ever met, just a true gentleman, went over to the table. there's a table of 6. He's talking. The whole table's just riveted by this guy, just watching him. And I went over and said hello. And he said, "Where have you been? I wanted to say thank you. The table's amazing." Then introduces me to everybody. And then at the time he goes, so let me give you my card. Like, can I have your card for the next time I come in? And I said, "Well, actually, Mr. Nance, I'm actually going to be leaving in 2 weeks. I'm not going to be working here anymore." And he goes, "What do you mean you're leaving?" And I was like, "Well, I'm going to be leaving and resigning from my job." He goes, "Well, what are you going to be doing?" I said, "Well, I'm going to be putting out golf videos on YouTube." And he was just like astounded by it. And then he goes, "Jim," or he goes, "Pete," or something. "You hear this guy's quitting his job?" He's like, "How long have you been in the industry?" I was like, "Over a decade." And they started laughing. I go, "Gentlemen, can you please not talk too loud about my resignation, because I haven't announced it to the staff yet." So they're howling, laughing. It was super funny. And he said, "Before I leave, I want to get your information. I want to talk to you." And I just thought he was saying that. So as he came to get up to leave at the end, he came over and was super, grateful, and said, "Do you have that information for me so I can find out where to watch your videos and everything?" I'm like, this guy is he's not joking. Like, he's being serious. So I like took out like some old menu and like started scribbling shit on it and gave it to him. And I said, "Here's my email address." And, and I sent him, he gave me his information, and I sent him an email just saying it was so great to meet him. And then, like, I don't know, like 6 weeks later, or 4 or 5 weeks later, I get a message from Nance Enterprises, and I'm like at a dinner in Scottsdale, and I look up and I see, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is Jim Nance who just messaged me, and just such a nice guy. Now, nothing more ever happened. I didn't end up getting him on the podcast, but it sounds like you guys have had him once or even twice, I think. No?
So, Rick, you want to jump in, or you want me to take it?
My pleasure. Yeah, we've had him on the podcast. He's been a guest of the pod, and just a dear friend. Everything that you just said is spot on about Jim. He's such an authentic guy. He could be as busy as humanly possible, but he would.
All right, let me jump in there, boys. A little static right there.
A little technical difficulties there.
Rick, I got it from here, kid. I got it from here. So, just absolute salt of the earth guy. And, how it happened and how you'll love this, Joey and Neil. You guys will love how, like, we've got these guests on the podcast because, you're running a podcast too. And through all these stories that Rick and I have of turning nosebleed tickets into on the field passes, we have so many pictures with being on the field. We get access to all these players and people, so we just take pictures with them. And Rick is hats off to tip of the cap, as you say, Joey, to Rick. When COVID hit and the world of sports shut down, Rick was like, "Rob, this is our opportunity. This is our chance. Let's start a podcast. Let's tell these stories. These stories are hilarious. Let's get guests on. This is a great time because no one's talking. There's no chatter. There's nothing. And we have all of our own content of these stories." And then what Rick did was he went through all of our photos and printed out like an 8 by 11.5-inch paper of a picture of us with Jim Nance, with us with Todd Frazier, with us with Derek Jeter, and found their addresses online, like either found their charity foundations, either found like their home address if it was online, found like where to mail this stuff to. And Rick wrote this beautiful letter just saying, like, "Hey, in a world with no sports," something along the lines of, "A world with no sports, we just wanted to take the time and say thank you so much for the impact that you've made on our lives, watching you play, watching you, commentate. And we can't thank you enough. We would love to have you on our podcast if you'd be open to it. But at the very least, would you be able to sign this and send it back for our man cave?" And we sent out 100.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we sent out 160 of them, and we probably got back 125. And,
wow.
We have Phil Knight, the owner of Nike. We have a picture of Phil Knight at an Oregon game on the field at Oregon, pulling the same shenanigans where we had nosebleed tickets. We somehow run into Phil Knight. We get a picture with Phil Knight. We send him this autograph, and it's probably one of my favorite autograph pictures of us with Phil Knight. And it says, "To the Brothers Brandt, just keep doing it."
That's
Phil
awesome.
And
Super cool.
and so that's how, we sent this to Nance, and we asked him to come on, and he was like, "Hey, absolutely, I'd love to come on." absolutely, let's make it happen. And luckily, because of the world of sports being shut down, things opened up in his schedule. So we had him on the podcast. And then something we love doing is just sending thank yous to people for coming on the podcast. And this is Rick. Rick is a genius. And he was like, let's send Jim Nantz a cake. And I'm like, a cake? And he goes, yeah, let's send him a cake. But I've seen where you can get these customized cakes and you can have digital pictures put on the cake. So what we did was, after our episode was over, that day prior to the episode, Rick called a local bakery and sent the 7th hole picture of Pebble Beach, where he got married to his wife Courtney. Like, they got married on the 7th hole, and then a picture of the Super Bowl and a picture of March Madness Final Four, and it was wrapped around the cake.
That's cool.
And we wrote a letter just saying, like, hey, thank you to the Nantz family for everything you do for allowing Jim to be able to be away from the family so much. And they got the cake. It was hand delivered to them by his bakery. And Jim literally called us the next day. And he just said, hey guys, I want to say I've been on thousands of podcasts, thousands of interviews. I've never been treated the way you guys have treated me. You guys are class acts.
Wow.
That's unreal. So, what the bottom line is, I will give you my address at the end. I like it. Chocolate or velvet red cake. Feel free to send something over. A ticket more of an ice cream cake kind of guy, and we'll go from there.
More of Fudgy the Whale, Carvel, absolutely.
No, but you know what? That's amazing. To touch on that, just again, like, the human spirit is something that, when you tap into it, no matter how big or how famous or how, relevant you are in the world, like, everybody still has a soft spot deep down below. And when you can tap into that, the opportunities that you can create are pretty endless. So good on you guys for just, the appreciation that you have for someone like that. And again, like, he is such an amazing guy, that I'm sure, like, he was just overwhelmed, but that is an incredible story. I think we need to end on this we keep talking about the Super Bowl story. So
we can't tease him any longer.
Yeah, we got to hit this up. Now, I heard from your podcast, from one of your podcasts, you guys talking about how you got media passes, which turned into you interviewing Tom Brady and Russell Wilson. Just maybe walk us through, Rick, like, first of all, how did you guys get media passes? And then how did these kind of, series of events unfold?
First off, I don't know what's all this media pass talk about. We didn't ever get media passes, so that never happened. All right, dressing the part, gentlemen. Dressing the part is key, and we all know what media day is at the Super Bowl. It's the Tuesday before the Super Bowl, and it's the two teams that are in it, and they're trading interviews from all of the major networks. Rob and I dressed in suits, okay? We had Patriot and we had Seahawk ties on, lapel pins. I myself had a fake microphone that had a cord going from it into my pocket. It wasn't plugged into anything. And Rob had a notebook as if he was going to take notes during these interviews. But essentially, guys, that's outside.
A legit microphone, by the way. I got to say,
your attention to detail is so huge, man.
I want to say something right here. Guys. And
go ahead, Rob.
This is how genius my brother is. Genius and psychotic. We have the suits on right there, and lapel pins. We bought those online a couple of days before. We bought the ties, all that stuff. We bought the lanyards, and Rick brings the microphone. And
there's nothing in those lanyards.
There's nothing in those lanyards, guys. They're literally tucked inside the coat pocket with a plastic sleeve. It's literally to show that we have a lanyard on. But we're going to get to that in a second. But if you're looking at this photo, Rick, when we were deciding on what to wrap the square microphone, you see how it's the Super Bowl logo?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, should we do ESPN? Should we do Fox? Should we do something like that? And Rick goes, no. If somebody sees us with an ESPN microphone, they're going to know we don't work for ESPN. So we're going to put the Super Bowl logo. We're going to be as generic as possible on this.
That's brilliant, man. That's so smart.
So I'm going to scroll through these.
You're like a mad genius, Rick. I mean, you are just a beautiful attention to detail. This is how you do what you guys do. The cake, the lanyards, the wrapping of the generic. This is so impressive.
Wow. I mean, these are.
Thank you. I can't take all the credit. Rob was right there with me.
I'll jump in here and tell a story just so we can get through this, but I'll leave it up on this screen and then we'll go through the other ones, but just so people can see this. So the media days on Tuesday, we're there to see the Super Bowl. So we got to witness the Seahawks Patriots Super Bowl where they threw the interception on the 1 yard line. We got to go to the Waste Management Open a couple of days before. So we really did it all in Scottsdale, and I'm so excited for Joey and you and Robbie and everybody to go out there for that epic time next year. It's unbelievable. And so we bought the media day. You can buy $20 tickets and actually sit in the lower bowl, kind of like that guy over our shoulder.
Yep.
You can sit there. So Rick and I did that. We bought these media passes and not media passes. We bought tickets to the media day for $20. And we show up to the arena, and this is the Phoenix Suns arena where the Phoenix Suns play. And as you can see behind, it's all decked out with Super Bowl stuff. And picture this, we're at the arena at 8 o'clock in the morning. Everybody there has Seahawks swag, Patriots swag, other team swag. We stick out like sore thumbs, rocking suits and having a microphone. I had a little notepad that I was pretending to take notes in. And our plan was to walk in and scan our $20 ticket and then walk down onto the field and act with a lot of confidence like we've done before.
Mm-hmm.
No. Here's what happened. A security guard saw us and just came up to us and said, "Hey guys, media entrance is on the other side of the stadium." And we just go, "Oh, okay, cool." And he goes, "Don't worry, I'll take you over there." So he brings us around the back of the stadium where the players enter for like basketball games. And it's like TSA back there. They have like the line, the metal detectors, bomb sniffing dogs, state troopers. Quite frankly, I'm shitting my pants. I'm like, "Rick, I don't know if we can do this, man." And everyone, all the reporters are already in there because it's about to start. And we're going through and we speed through, and God bless this guy's soul. They had like an 80-year-old guy working the security thing, and we were taking out our stuff, putting it in the little tray like you've gone to an airport.
Yeah.
Like, set up. And he looks at Rick and he goes, "Hey, do you want to get your microphone calibrated?" And Rick just goes, "No, it just plugs into my phone." And the guy just goes, okay. I was like completely puzzled. Nobody asked us for credentials at all whatsoever. Kind of scary. We walked right through, and now we're inside the stadium and there's state troopers. And I go right up to the state trooper and say, "Hey, thanks for your service. You got to initiate contact.
Yeah.
You can't look sketchy." And then a woman makes an announcement. Sorry, this is kind of a long story, but it's epic. And a woman makes an announcement and she goes, "Hey guys, there's two ways to get down onto the field. You can either go down to the lower bowl or you can go to the service elevator over here." So Rick and I are like, "All right, let's try the lower bowl." And we try to go down the lower bowl, big security guard there. He goes, "Hey, where are your credentials?" And Rick's like, "Oh, we got to get it from our manager." And he's just like, "Manager, you should have got this mailed to you a month ago or 2 months ago."
Oh, yeah.
And these credentials are big. They're like license plates with like your face on it and like a QR code and everything. And Rick and I turn around, and who do we see in the crowd? We see Sal Palantonio and Ed Warner just kicking it in these chairs right behind us. So Rick goes right over to him and just goes, "Sal, what's going on?" Like they're long lost buddies, just a lot of swagger, a lot of confidence. And Sal up downs us and just goes, "Where are your credentials?" Because we're in like a media area. And Rick goes, "Oh, we got to get it from our manager." And this is like a white lie right there. And then Sal goes, "Oh, who do you work for?" And we just go, "Oh, it's a small paper back in New Jersey. We doubt you ever heard of it. It's called the Asbury Park Press." And we were just naming our local newspaper back home in Monmouth County, New Jersey. And we totally forgot that Sal Paolantonio is from New Jersey. That's why he covers the Jets, the Eagles, the Giants, and nobody back home calls it the Asbury Park Press. Everybody calls it the APP. And his immediate reaction is, "Oh, the APP." And I'm sweating bullets. I'm like, "Oh, God, he's gonna ask us if we know somebody in like marketing. He's gonna ask if we know this person." And he said, "Oh, you know what's funny? That was actually the first paper I applied to after NYU, and I didn't get the job." And then Rick slaps him on the chest like a little playful slap and just goes, "Sounds like our career's getting off to a better start than yours."
Oh, that's hysterical.
And Ed Warner's cracking up. And then Rick goes, "Hey, it's our first Super Bowl we're covering," which is true. We're covering it, but for ourselves and for no one in particular. And we go, "Can we get a picture?" So then that led us to the picture with Sal Paolantonio and Ed Warner just hanging out right here. and then you can see the lanyard that they have on. It looks legit. So and then Rick and I are like, "All right, well, we got to find this service elevator. We're not done yet. Let's give it the old college try. If we can't get in through the service elevator, then we're done. We'll figure something out." We go back to the main concourse where people are, and there's tables of food. This is critical to the story. Kind of goes back to that Detroit thing where I'm saying, like, if you have food in your hands, it looks like you belong. So Rick and I start loading up plates of food and like bagels, donuts, all this stuff, coffees. And we see this service elevator and the stars align, guys. This will never happen again. Somebody must have spilt their coffee like 30 seconds before we showed up. So the security guard that's supposed to be checking credentials is on his hands and knees cleaning up this spill. Rick and I just walk right by him, press the down button, and then we get down there and we can see the tunnel, and we're walking out of the tunnel. We can see the light. And as we're walking, two security guards come out of nowhere and just go, "Hey, no food or beverage past this point. You guys have to throw that out." And we were like, "Oh my God, we thought they were going to ask for our tickets."
That's hilarious.
And
yeah.
then we find a trash can and we throw it away. And then we go right out into the field. We put the lanyards on. So now we have like all the lanyards on and everything. And now we have to blend in, and we're like, "All right, we got to start talking to people. We got to start coming up with stories." So we see Kurt Warner, and we just start talking to Kurt Warner. We see Michael Irving. We start talking to Michael Irving.
That's amazing.
And start blending in. And then all of a sudden the players come out. And the Seahawks or the Patriots, I think, came out first. And we start to get pictures with Tom Brady. Like, Tom Brady's there, and Rick's like, "I got to ask him a question. So he waits in line, and we're just asking questions to say we've asked questions to Tom Brady and Russell Wilson. We're not trying to put together a story.
No. At this moment, are you like losing it a little bit? Are you like freaking out a little bit?
No, because we have the lanyards on and the lapel pins and the microphone. We're
dialed. No, not like scared or nervous, but you just like caught up in the moment. Like, I can't believe like we're actually here with the players, like in the media. Like you guys must have been like kind of like in denial at that point. Like, what the hell's going on?
Oh my God, absolutely. 100%. We were just like totally freaking out. Rick's like, we're kids in a candy shop. We're going over and Rick's like, "I got to ask him a question." And Rick asks him a question. He goes, "Hey, Tom, who's your favorite wide receiver to throw to?" And Tom just goes,
"Oh my God."
Like we have
dead giveaway. We are not reporters.
Hey, Tom, who hit you the hardest this year?
I love that every single picture he's holding the mic up to him too. Yeah. Like Sal Pal didn't have his mic. Like, but every single one, Rick's got it. It's so good.
It's like, "Hey, believe me, I'm a reporter."
Yeah, please believe me.
So we what is it? "Don't worry, I'm a limo driver." So this is where it gets crazy. We just start meeting people, and we met this reporter from Europe, and it was this girl from Europe reporting, and she just goes, "Hey, are you guys going to the Super Bowl media day party tonight?" And we're like, "Of course we are. Yeah, we should exchange information to link up after this." And once we're done like interviewing all these people, we leave the stadium and we were just like totally, you know, we were talking to Chris Berman, we were talking to Pete Carroll, we were talking to Russell Wilson, and we're on cloud nine. We're like, how could this get any better? And this girl, we exchanged numbers with her, and she goes, yeah, let's just meet at the hotel. So hours go by, we meet at the hotel, and the Super Bowl media day party is a party, an all you can eat, all you can drink party.
Jeez, that sounds spectacular.
But here's what happens is we show up at the hotel, and then they have chartered buses. And me and Rick and these two girls get on these chartered buses, and the girls even ask, they're like, hey, where are your credentials? And we go, oh, we left them in the car. They're like, oh, you might need them. And we get into these buses and we start leaving Phoenix. And Phoenix is in the background. Our car's parked in Phoenix. We're driving for like 30 minutes. I go, oh God, this is going to be like a $200 Uber if we get kicked out of this place. We have no idea what to expect. And someone comes on the loudspeaker of the bus and just makes an announcement. And she goes, hey guys, you're going to be working so hard this week. We just want to say thank you with this party. It's going to be at the Bird's Nest, the Crow's Nest out in Scottsdale. It's this huge venue where all the concerts happen. And the Congos are going to play. It was a band at the time that had like a couple hits. And it's going to be an all you can drink, all you can eat. So just enjoy yourself. So we get off this bus and we go to this all you can eat, all you can drink. Rick doesn't even drink alcohol and he's having a ball. We hung out with Jason Taylor from the Jets and the Dolphins for
That's
like probably awesome. About an hour just shooting it with Jason. And then we befriended Miss Arizona. And her entourage, we were just hanging out with them the whole night. The hottest, best looking girls there.
I mean, you guys could not have done that better. Jesus Christ, that's the way to do. You want to do it with a group of girls. You do with Miss Arizona. My goodness. Thinking, I'm not joking. I was in Scottsdale like about a month or two ago, and the women there they're just built different. They're just the head turners. Like my head was on a swivel the entire time I was in Scottsdale. Those girls are beautiful, but what an absolutely incredible story.
It's unbelievable. You guys are like wedding crashers, but for sports.
It is. You could make a movie. Like you guys could make like a whole movie about this, to be honest.
Stadium crashers.
Stadium crashers.
I mean, yeah,
right.
you might want to think about,
write a script.
You might want to write a script, send it to NBC with the cake, and before you know it, you're gonna have a fucking movie. You're gonna have a movie from, like getting ready, or a TV show or something, reality series, because that is pretty amazing. But I mean, what a story. Ticket. I mean, what are your thoughts overall? I mean, it's pretty unbelievable stuff.
These guys are two true beauties. I mean, I've listened to the podcast, especially back when I first met Rob, probably about a year ago. Started talking to him. And then, reconnecting through this whole venture with having them on the podcast. And it's like every single one of these stories is so good. They tell a good story. And what's great about their podcast too is like it's super bite-sized. Like sometimes if you think you just only have 15 minutes to drive into work, you can listen to one of their episodes. It's fantastic. It's a great listen. They're great storytellers, as well as just having experiences that most of us just do not have. I sit in my seat and I'm ashamed of it.
I think one thing I will say is like a lot of people now, and Robbie's one of them, and people that I know too, with the amount of accessibility that you have on TV now, a lot of people growing up, our age even, they'd much rather watch the game at home than go to the game. And I will say, for all the hassles and everything that you do, some of the most noteworthy experiences that I have had is being in a stadium. Like, for example, that Green Bay Packers game when Aaron Rodgers hit Jared Cook out of bounds and right before the end of the game, and Mason Crosby hits a 54-yard field goal to win the game. And just being there to experience it, there's so much more that it encompasses than being at home on your couch or whatnot. Like, it's just something that is pretty special. And I mean, nobody's, by the sounds of it, is doing it the way that you guys are. So once again, thanks so much for coming on the show. It has been a true pleasure. If you ever need us to come on your show, I mean, please, invite the opportunity. We don't give cakes, but I'm sure cupcakes could be arranged or something of the sort. But if you guys want to listen to their podcast, check out the Brothers Brandt. You guys are available on all platforms. And again, just thank you so much for taking some of your time out of your day to sit down and talk to us. It means a lot. And I think people are going to really enjoy this episode because it's just so cool to hear some of these stories, because it doesn't sound real life. But then when you see the pictures and you see everything, it's like, well, I guess we can't doubt this. This is actually something that took place, but really appreciated it. Ticket, any closing words that you like to ask before we wrap this thing up? Or
I think you just said it beautifully, man. Really appreciate you guys taking the time and coming on our little show here and just sort of talking about your experiences. It's fascinating. And I feel like I could talk to you guys all day about it.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for having us on. For all the listeners out there, I'm Rick Brandt.
I'm Rob Brandt. We're the Brothers Brandt. But guys, thank you guys so much for everything. We love what you guys are doing too. And we'd love to come back on, tell some more stories, or just hang out and just tell stories. We got 100 of them. So
I mean, at this point now, I'm not working. I might, the next time you guys are doing one of these things, I might have to come down with you and experience it firsthand. I might need to put like a little GoPro on, on the edge of my microphone. Maybe Rick, you can help me with something like that so we can get the whole experience. But no, guys, it's absolutely, we'll be sharing this on our Instagram pages and, promoting it on our sides. But just an epic episode. And like Ticket said, our first ever collaboration. We have not done this. So, hopefully between the two of our shows, we're going to be able to expand on the 400 faithful and maybe get a few hundred more at some point. Would be awesome. But you guys have an unbelievable day. Thank you again from the bottom of our hearts. We really appreciate you guys, and keep doing what you're doing, man. You guys are rewriting history with these things. And again, when I say a movie could be in place, I'm not lying. Like Wedding Crashers is something that's pretty unbelievable. I don't think it's nearly as outrageous as some of the things that you guys are doing. It really is pretty unbelievable. So
thanks, guys.
Great episode overall. No, Tick?
An absolute banger as always. That is Rob and Rick. They are the Brothers Brandt. I am the Big Ticket, and that is Cold Cuts. And we are the Sportsmen. Till next week, folks. Good talking to you guys.